did you just do that because you know I'm an idiot? Is that why you did that?
No, I thought, I would do something funny. And then as I was doing it, I was like, you're right, Shawn is an idiot.
Being an idiot is one thing, but like being an idiot and not a good artist is another thing. But like you guys are good artists at least. You can be idiots.
At least that, right? So on a scale to 1 to 10, how much did you add this last part?
On a scale, to absolute 10, dude. Like, it was disgusting. It was like bad comedy. I didn't expect much from this podcast, and it like just got worse.
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
What's up? Welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming
What's
on.
up?
No
What's
problem,
up?
man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, surprised by the invite.
Oh no, we'll get there. We'll get there. Welcome everyone to the Inkpulp podcast. Your host Shawn here with his brother Mattteo, and our special guest Marko. And I don't want to murder your last name, but I'm a Djurdjevic. Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty much as close as it gets for some American dude.
A retarded American.
Exactly. Some dumbass in Atlanta, Georgia.
So I said retarded because I just saw a special. I don't know, Marko, if you like stand-up comedy.
No,
But,
not at all. I fucking hate stand-up comedy. It's like the
really?
one thing. Oh my god,
Jesus.
you cannot bore me more than with stand-up comedy.
Wait,
there's
shit,
nothing
Mattteo. Mattteo, I think we found the new Eric. I think Marko needs to be on the show forever. He'll replace Eric. It'll be like he never left.
Who's Eric?
Eric Canete. Usually,
I
he
know
used
Eric.
to do the podcast with us.
Yeah,
and he was that like the Lord, we call him the Lord of Darkness. Because he would bring everyone down.
Okay. Well, I'm really good at that. I pretty much hate everything and everybody, so like it's not a problem. I'll just contribute a little bit.
Anyways, no, I was just a quick thing to say that a great comedian called named Ari Shaffir, he just released the new special on Netflix, and he talks a lot about the word retarded, and he officially said that now we're back to using it, so everybody can use it again. So that's why I decided to use it immediately at the beginning of because
I
Ari
never
Shaffir
stopped
said
using it, so it's really...
It's basically the way you address every friend, basically, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a term of endearment and affection.
I mean, there's no better word to describe me and Mattteo. There's no better word.
There's also no better word to describe me. I mean, like I'm pretty retarded.
All right,
I do art for a living. That's very retarded.
That's already a sign, right?
Oh,
shit!
rolling,
nice
we're
start.
rolling. That's the name of the new show. It's Mattteo, Shawn, and Marko, the three retards.
Yeah.
3 retards, 1 cup.
Oh my god! Oh no!
Now you're going there.
Oh, that's fucking
Mattteo
gross.
will always go there. He will always push.
That's the loneliness of being a comic book artist, you know? Like you only have your head to entertain yourself with, and then
That's very true.
just come up with dumb shit all day.
Yeah. Do you miss it, Marko? And now you're working with a whole team of people. You're surrounded by people all day, I'm guessing. Do you
If I miss
the
comic
solitude?
books?
No, the solitude of working on comic books.
I don't know. I mean, I'm here pretty much every weekend and during long nights, and so I do have my solitude when I need it. I actually hate people, so it's very hard for me. It's very hard for me to deal with other human beings. So I close them out of my office and.
I understand, Eric. Sorry, Marko. sorry. It will happen a lot during the show.
It's fine. You know, we've been colleagues, Eric and I. Like he was working at Riot Games for a very long time, and we were our team was supporting Riot Games for 7 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We ran into
I
Eric.
saw that on your website. Yeah. Absolutely.
We ran into Eric many times over at the Riot office.
Mm-hmm. Are you still collaborating with them?
With Riot Games? No, we had a 7-year exclusive deal going with them. We were
awesome
dancing at the wedding with them for 7 years, and then things went separate ways after a while. Like you cannot dance forever at the same wedding. I think it's like eating steak every day. Like at one point you're just tired of it. Yeah. I mean, I love steak. I never get tired of steak, but like
but if you had it every
metaphorically speaking.
Sure. Was the vision at your company always to build your own thing? Was that the long-term goal?
You mean IP wise, or?
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, like I think I've been pursuing that dream in particular for a very, very long time. I think since we got founded in 2010, I've always been trying to get us to a point where we become an independent content creator rather than just a service. Because for me, the service side of things was always like, okay, like we need to do this for as long as we have to make enough money to fund ourselves to become independent. That was like the long-term goal.
Yeah, what you're describing is very similar to the journey I know I'm on, and I think Mattteo too, is to work and earn and save enough money to go and do our own books.
Yeah.
And our own IPs.
Yeah. I'm kind of dipping my toes right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm in between. I'm still doing mainstream work while starting to do my thing. And I mean, even this podcast is a part of, this other project of trying to self-promote and see how it goes and see if I'm able to be independent of all that stuff, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean,
it's a rough transition, but if you look at the historical examples, there is a reason why Michelangelo's David is more important than the paintings that he put into the Sistine Chapel. The paintings in the Sistine Chapel, it was like commissioned work by the Pope.
Right.
Like it's like painting the cover for the church. Like it's cool and all, and you get like some street cred from it, but like the David that he carved out of a piece of marble, that's the real thing. That's the one thing that he's remembered for, and that's the one thing that made him stand out from his peers. I really think doing creator-owned work is the best trajectory for any artist that wants to take himself serious. You can do the commission stuff for a very, very long time, but at one point you'll hit a wall and feel like, oh wow, like everything I'm doing I don't own. Like everything I'm doing is somebody else's property. Everything I'm doing is in essence just contributing to somebody else's success instead of your own. So I tried to veer off and go in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I was talking to Shawn about this before we started recording. Like, there's been a time in which you were like one of the top of the food chain in terms of mainstream media, like from 2007 to 2010, 2011. So, it takes courage to me to decide, a lot of people would say, yeah, you have it all. You're done. Like, you can just, wait and keep working for them. They'll keep giving you work and that's it. And instead, it takes balls to decide, no, I'm gonna, despite the fact that I'm super popular right now, I decide to do my own thing.
But,
so.
I'm very self-conscious about certain things that happened in the past. And I do think the career that I had at Marvel came out of me finding quick solutions for problems rather than me being a highly talented cover artist. And I introduced stuff that I brought in from other disciplines like graphic design, which was not used at that point in time in cover work. But that came out of the inability of being a good painter. I wasn't a good painter. I got this cover gig and I still had to do the covers. So I had to come up with smart solutions on how to get to a result without fumbling the gig. And so I started introducing elements from different disciplines, which made the covers appear fresh, but they weren't like laborious or they weren't like really thought out. They were just like coming together on an instinct and on a whim. And that allowed me to, really perform well for a certain period of time. But you start hitting a wall after, I think I produced like 350 covers in the 5 years that I was at Marvel.
Dude!
Oh my God.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, it was an insane run. But like, you know, like at the end of the day, I think the thing that happened was at one point I was sitting with my sketchbook in my kitchen and I was drawing, and I was instinctively drawing Daredevil, and I didn't understand really why I was drawing Daredevil, because I didn't care for Daredevil. And I was like, why the fuck am I doing this for? Like, it's not even my character. I should like spend my free time drawing something that is mine rather than something that doesn't belong to me. And that was the moment where like the marble dropped, and I was like, fuck, I need to do something else. Maybe.
Did you grow up with a love for comic books?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I had a period when I was like 11, 12, 13 where I was so into Eric Larson and Todd McFarlane that like they were the gods of my world. Yeah. I bought Spawn #1 from some weird comic book dealer that sold it out of a car. And so like I was infatuated with their run on Spider-Man, and then like transitioning into Image Comics and their life path back then. And I think even today, I love listening to Todd's podcast because he's the only guy with balls and a brain in this industry, I feel.
Dude, we have him on last year.
Yeah,
he was on the show.
He was like, you had to shoot him to stop him. Like if we went going, I had to go because I had to grab my son. But if we let him go, it would go for like 15 hours. Without stopping
absolutely,
for a second.
Because the guy is a machine gun. Like I personally, I think like as an artist, you can only look up to him and to his life trajectory, what he accomplished for the industry and for the dreams of artists that came in secondary and tertiary generations after him is absolutely enormous and can't be valued enough. He's definitely like one of those big milestones in the industry.
Yeah. Absolutely. And despite that, zero ego. Like, incredible. He said this thing, we made it into a clip. Like, he said, like, I had like 2 million followers. On a good day, I get like 200,000 likes. But compared to the whole world, 200,000 is nothing. So when one day I get 0 likes and I'm a 0. And the day at my best, I'm like 0.00001. So at my best day and my worst day, I'm still a fucking 0. So I might as well just do what I like, and that's it. And that's one of the best lessons. Like every artist should follow. And not artists, just people in general.
I completely agree with you. For me, one of the biggest eye-opening moments was during the peak of my Marvel career. I tried to bring some personal art to a convention. And the personal art was better than anything that I've done over at Marvel, but nobody was looking at it. And I had like these lines of people that were like standing in front of me. They wanted me to sign artwork that I knew was inferior to the stuff that I was actually wanting to do. And I just understood that moment, like nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck. Like this is all in my head, you know, like I'm doing this because I'm retarded. And like, only a retarded person could torture themselves so much over nothing. And so, that was a big realization for me. And that's why I then decided, you know, like then it doesn't really matter. Then like I'm just going to live the joke life that I'm living and continue on my journey to be another 0 in the system.
Another retard in history.
Exactly.
So when you left Marvel, did you know you were going to start your own company? Yeah,
that was actually really, I mean, that
by the way, sorry to interrupt. Just one second, since we never mentioned it. The company is called More Vodka.
Yeah.
And because we keep referring at the company, but you know, so that people hear the name.
So it's a 2D outsourcing studio. Basically, we employ artists and we take on big gigs for video games, and then we help the video game developers, you know, do all their pre-production work and set up their pipeline. And sometimes they come to us for marketing shots. Sometimes they come to us for illustrations. But most of the work is concept based, like creating ideas on the fly for them and helping them figure out their world building and supporting them through those early stages of video game development where really all the shots need to be made. And what happened was, like during the peak at Marvel, I was getting so many job offers that I just could not do them myself anymore. And then I asked my wife to join me, and then she was overbooked already. And then we just out of necessity started hiring people, but I needed to put the people somewhere. So I needed an office space or a studio space. And then before we knew it, we were 7, and then we were 14. And then I think at peak in 2020, we were 25 people working in the office. And so,
Shit, man.
We were really huge. Now it's like post-COVID, everything like kind of collapsed, and the industry has been going through a shitter.
Yeah, they died basically of COVID. 10 of them. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
The fatter ones, they, unfortunately perished.
Oh my God.
Well, that's what they say about COVID. It gets the fat ones.
I'm happy for you because like Zuckerberg just like lifted the free speech ban, so you're like free to go today. Like you have a wild card over there.
It's all Ari Shaffir. That's Mattteo speaking right there.
No, I was just kidding. Plus, there's no fat people in Germany. It's not like America.
I wouldn't say so. I was fat for many years until I wasn't anymore. Like my work made me fat, and then I had to lose all this fucking weight. Like it's just terrible.
Yeah,
to me, it's a constant battle. Like it's
It's just a job,
disaster.
dude. The job's so fucking retarded. It's like you sit
really
around all day. There's nothing to do outside of like sitting around. Like sometimes I don't feel my legs anymore. What the fuck is going on? Like I'm not an astronaut. I should be feeling my legs.
We want to do a shout out to a couple of our friends who are going through a tough time.
Very tough time. Very tough time.
So, Shawn, do you wanna tell them?
Yeah. So we have 2 GoFundMes. We're going to put the links in the description. 2 artists we know. One we're very close friends with, Andrew Robinson, lost his everything. He lost everything to the fires in LA. He's fine. His family's fine. But I mean, all his clothes, everything gone. So there's a GoFundMe to kind of help him rebuild his life. And the link to that is below. Andrew, if not for Andrew, I wouldn't be here. He taught me so much. I interned under him and I owe him a lot. So I hope you all can spare something to help him out.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you have other options other than the GoFundMe page. You can also either ask for a commission through essentialsequential.com.
Right.
You can get like fully painted commissions for really cheap, too cheap probably, but it's
too cheap
for the level of talent that this guy has. It's
I mean, I think you and I agree. Andrew's one of the best artists out there. I think
to me, overall, I think in my opinion, he's the best.
Yeah.
If it's not the best, I put it in the top 3.
I agree. I totally agree.
And is a great guy. We had him recently on the podcast.
On the show. Yeah.
And so one option is commission him something through Essential Sequential. Another option is, and I probably would suggest this one, is to buy directly like some of his art on the website.
Yeah, that's definitely
so that he doesn't have to, he's got a lot on his mind right now. So probably giving stuff to do probably is not ideal, but I don't know. Maybe he's happy about it. But personally, if I was in his shoes, I'd rather have straight up money without having to work for it.
That's true. And then there's also the GoFundMe.
Yeah, and also the GoFundMe. I actually bought a page yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I bought a big double spread cover. Yeah, a painted one. You know the bass reefs?
Yes. Yeah. Nice.
So I bought that cover, that double spread. It's
awesome.
Beautiful. And speaking of bass reefs, the creator of that bass reef is another guy that
good segue.
We should help. David Williams.
Yeah.
Another good friend, great artist, great guy. Yeah. And he's he and his wife, he and his family, they went through a full nightmare. His wife got cancer. I don't know which kind, but for sure a bad one. She unfortunately passed last week after a really bad that time in which David hasn't been able to work. They've been together for like 38 years or something.
Yeah, long.
So it must
long
be.
time.
They had 3 kids. It must be like I don't even want to think about what the guy's going through. So please help him out. There's another GoFundMe.
Yeah.
You'll find it in the description. Click on the link and whatever. Even if it's just $20, whatever you want to do, I'm sure that it will help him a lot. He's going through a lot. So that's it.
No, actually, let me throw one more. Let me throw one more in the ring. Another friend of mine.
If you want to GoFundMe for Shawn, he needs money as well. So
I don't have anything bad happening, but I'll take it.
I might open one for myself just because, and just give us all the money. Yeah.
But no, one more GoFundMe I do that I'll put in the link. A good friend of mine who's been very supportive of the Inkpulp podcast for a while now. Rapper Booty Brown from the Far Side. Also, his mother lost her home. It was his childhood home to the fires. And so they're trying to help her rebuild a life too. So we'll throw that GoFundMe down there too. So, these fires have fucked up a lot of people's lives. So
yeah, man, it's so weird that, this kind of things keep happening in that area of the States, but there isn't a solid system, for that.
Yeah,
fucking sucks, man.
Yeah. So any help you guys can give, please do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So back to where I was going. So you left Marvel. You were already getting lots of requests for work. So you built this company. So when you left, you had this in place.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, the company was in development from 2010, and I think I left Marvel in 2011, so a year after. But the Marvel stuff was still ongoing while we had the company just in the setup phase, and then a lot of the ancillary Marvel work came through our studio. So video game studios that had Marvel licenses hired us out to do pre-production work for Marvel video games, and so like it kind of transitioned into that, and so the first years were kind of comic book work, but like on a video game basis. And then suddenly Warner Brothers got wind of us, and then they asked us to do all the Batman work for Batman Arkham Origins. And then we worked on that, and that led to Batman Arkham Knight, which we then supported from the ground up. And so we were involved with comic books for quite some time, but like not on the publishing side.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And how about you, Marko? You're still sometimes, do you miss doing actual like interior work, or you think that your word is like concept design, more like illustrations / concept creating and all that?
I mean, I was never a really great comic book artist, like to begin with, to just be honest. Like I never dealt with comic books so much that I could say, oh, I had a great run on this particular title. I only made like a bunch of fill-in issues every now and then for Thor and a bit of Avengers work. Most of my work was cover art. I'd love to do comic book work, but I do feel that every script that I got was so boring and so unexciting that I was like, oh no, if I do comic book work, I'll write it myself. Like I'm not gonna draw this stuff, like it's not worth the effort or the pain. And so that's how I then eventually veered off and became also a writer on the side, because I just could not stand the manuscripts that were handed to me, and I just found them incredibly uninspired and jarring. And so that also kind of then fed into the creator-owned stuff, because I finally found an outlet in which I could do both. I could like write well and draw well, and then like kind of combine that and make more authentic work that is just more me in a sense.
So is that what led to Orcin, which is where where we're going with all this? Yeah,
I mean, Orcin is, I hope, my next big thing, or it's going to be my grave. I don't know. I'm such I'm such a perfectionist, and I'm such an idiot because I overcommit to everything. I cannot do one thing at a time. I need to do 10 things at a time, just to satisfy myself. Because if it's not the most grandiose thing I've ever done, I'm not even going to start it. And then I just, it's like punching yourself in the face in the morning just for existing. And so, yeah, I'm like now trying to set this thing up, and it's already more than I've ever. I've bitten off more than I can chew. I'm the graphic designer on the project. I'm the art director on the project. I'm the main writer on the project. I'm the artist on the project. I do all the packaging design, and I do all the biz dev around it. I mean, you've got to be really mentally ill.
And it shows you're gonna be the cosplayer of an orc, or just to add another role in the whole thing to promote.
The thing is, I now have to market it as well. I now, like, my team puts me on camera, and they're like, we cannot sell it. You can sell it way better because it's your product. So you be on the call with Inkpulp and you promote your shit. And I'm like, oh, you know what? You guys are fucking with me. Like I give you one job and you just bounce it back to me.
But you see, it's worth. We normally have 3 or 4 views for every episode. So
today we're gonna get 5.
5. Yeah.
We're gonna sell 0 books off of this thing.
I was gonna ask about the package design and the marketing, because when I got the package, and you can see it all behind Mattteo now.
Oh yeah, and by the way, thanks a lot for your team for sending us all this cool stuff. It looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, the whole package design is incredible.
Yeah,
the graphic design, everything. And even looking through, and I'm going to get to the Kickstarter in a bit, but just looking through your pre-launch page, just the use of orange and black, it's perfect. It's beautiful.
It's just my old. I mean, that's what my original background is graphic design. Like I started out as an illustrator. As a failed illustrator, I did, I tried to set up a career very early on in my life. I started out when I was 17. It wasn't going anywhere. There was pre-internet, you were barely getting any jobs. And then I was so broke that I needed to start something else. I needed to get money in. And then I was working as a graphic designer for an ad agency. And that's where I picked up all my graphic design knowledge. And that then later translated into all the other work that I did for Marvel, and a general feeling for graphic design and typography, which I personally really appreciate, because it's such a reduced form of art and nobody really notices it unless it's really shit. And but I personally enjoy that because it's such a reduced way of communicating, and the packaging for Orcin was exactly because of that, reduced to an absolute limitation of color and shape and form, just to not overwhelm anybody. And I do think it's more striking to have something that is simple in a marketplace like books, or like a bookstore, where you walk in and you just see something that is very reduced but striking in color, and you see it from 20 feet away, rather than just slamming every bit of detail onto the cover just to sell it somehow better, but it's just gonna become one with the surrounding mud.
This reminds me of when Sin City came out. I remember listening to an interview with Frank Miller, and he said, when you look on a comic book rack on the shelves, you just see noise. And then Sin City was this very graphic, simple, black and white close-up of Marv, and it just popped right out. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And that's, that's something that I'm trying to bring back with the overall packaging for this series.
Well, speaking of cool looking, also I loved your website, the 6morevodka.com. It's fucking, I loved it. I just want to mention the studio who did it, Spatsek Studio.
Yeah, Daniel,
I loved it. So ironic and fun. I don't know if you went there, Shawn, but it's a great website. Yeah, super funny.
Yeah, I was going to ask how much did Marko get involved with designing that?
So Daniel and I, we have been collaborating on 3 or 4 websites in the past. Also, the new Orcin World one is made by him. And we usually, the way we work is that I call him up and I pitch him some stupid idea, and then I let him play around with it, and then he comes back with the concept, and then we really quickly agree on like, okay, that's the way to go. And we knew already when we started doing sixmorevodka.com that we didn't want a corporate website. Like we're a team of artists. Like I feel so cringy every time I self-advertise. So we wanted to do something that is just more natural to us. And then what we did was we took the dumbest comments from our daily Slack channels and like put them all into a huge document. And we were like, okay, like use those as transition pages. And then like basically like went through hundreds of comments and just picked and chose whatever worked. Just made all the transitions work with that. And then he like really got creative on the jokey side. And we just wanted to present ourselves differently. It's like really not about like, giving yourself like some type of awards and
right.
Let the art speak for itself. Like people will come and hire you because you're good, not because you talk a lot about yourself.
Right. And so I assume the name of the company came from the same space.
Yeah. It was like the last thing that two of my best friends back in 2004 remembered after a night of drinking with me in Amsterdam. I just kept ordering 6 more vodka at the bar, like double shots for the three of us. And I think we had the worst hangover of our entire existence the next day. And so like everybody kept joking around about these dumb 6 more vodka shots. And I was like, man, like if I ever do something with my life, it's going to be called 6 more vodka. It's the best name ever. Like just, you know, like it's an instant talking point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And now you're living the hangover through having to work so much all the time.
Well, I mean, I consume way too much alcohol anyway, so like it's 6 more vodka for me every night. Nothing has changed.
I'm curious. Like you said, at 17, you're trying to be an illustrator. What was your background before that in studying art?
Nothing. I was just a kid that was really excited about art. Like art was always a way out for me. I had like a really rough childhood, really dumb parents. And I was like, wow, man, like if I could get anywhere with this particular type of work, that would be amazing. And then at 17, I scored my first illustration gig. And I think I made something around $2,500 for that first gig. But that was so much more than anybody else would make barkeeping or running errands for somebody.
Right.
Like, this could be a life path for me. But then I went to the art store and I spent all that money on art supplies that I didn't need. And I bought so many art supplies. I was such a poor kid that I never had much money when I was growing up. And I always dreamed about like, oh man, like if I have all the art supplies, then I can do all the art that all the good guys are doing. And so I bought art supplies that I never used again, like fucking chalk and all this crap and like some fucking crayon paper and like stuff that I hated looking at. Like I bought myself oil colors, never fucking painted with oil colors in my life.
You're just telling my story. That's my first, basically you're describing my first 5 years going to New York for the show. Yeah. Like the one thing that we had to do, every artist there, the Italian artist, we had to go to Dick Blick and buy the dumbest shit ever. Like these pans, all the kind of pans and stuff. I remember a friend of mine bought a full table, a drawing table, and had it shipped to Italy. So
it's what dumb artists do. Like it's really like we're really. I mean, there's there's one class of people that is like comparable to lemmings, and it is artists. You know, like everything about our lives is just like, okay, like how can we do more damage to ourselves?
Okay, so Marko, I want. Oh yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, when you first started going to Dick Blick, were you ever in New York when Pearl was there? Did you ever go to Pearl?
Pearl, I remember, I kind of remember that name. So that was
the best. It was like 4 stories. It was like a tall, skinny building, and it was 4 stories.
Where you can waste all of your money.
Oh, I spent so much money in Pearl.
I still have some stuff sitting there. It's been sitting there for like 20 years now. Since,
Actually,
I don't know, like
look,
2010 or something.
I'm gonna grab something because I got this at Pearl. It's my favorite thing I ever bought. It was I think $300, but look, this thing.
Oh my God, what is that? Holy shit! Are you serious? What do you? Come on, give me the introduction. What do you use this shit for?
Okay, so
Scratch his back.
No, it looks like a beard
Comb my
grooming
beard.
device or something. You know, like I was like, what the fuck do you use this shit for?
Marko,
So
you don't know Shawn enough. He puts it in his ass when it's closed, and then he opens it up when it's inside
Oh my
to
God!
scratch his fucking rectum.
hey, it works.
I like the picture of that.
It works.
He can show you now if you want. We'll cut it from the show, but because of YouTube. But you know, just for you, Shawn can do the show for you.
Yeah.
We'll do it after the
nice.
show. After the show.
How much did you pay for it?
This was $300.
Oh my God!
This thing. This thing.
You see,
That's
every
what I'm
time
saying.
he
Artists
does that,
are really
it's a
retarded.
dollar bill flying away. Like one,
Yeah.
2, 3.
But I was in Pearl and I saw it and I had to have it.
Have you
Actually,
ever
Very
used
cool.
it?
Yeah, I used to use it all the time it's a perspective tool. But I was at Shawn Chen's apartment, if you know Shawn, like 2 days before, and I saw him and he showed me how he used it. I was like, I got to get that. So we went to Pearl and I got it.
Awesome.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So going back to Orcin, Marko. So a little bit about the project and you know what it talks about, and it's
Well,
I mean
I
it's an
already mentioned-
exploration about a different, you know, a part of fantasy that usually doesn't get explored this way. So I find it really interesting, to be honest with you.
So first of all, let me start off with what the first reasoning for it is that I'm doing that particular IP, and that is I really hate fantasy. I just hate fantasy. Regular fantasy is probably the
Yeah, me too,
cringiest
man.
fucking shit that
Yeah.
anybody can
More than
consume.
stand-up comedy.
I don't know. It's on the same level, I think, but it has like a level of orthodoxy to it, and it just doesn't change, and it just feels like it really is always the same. And I really could not bear to look at it or consume it any longer. And I haven't read fantasy fiction in I think maybe 20 years or so. But I'm always very interested by properties or ideas that I personally do not like, because I do think that I can add something to the table only if I really do despise the genre.
He's Eric.
If I like the genre too much, then I'm just going to reference things that I like.
Yeah.
But if I don't like it,
that's a good
I'm
point.
just going to try and rethink it. At least not reinvent it, because like reinventing the wheel is impossible, but you can remix things and you can come up with better solutions and better storytelling options if you try to reimagine the material. And that was the core or initial idea, that I felt that one thing that was missing from fantasy in its entirety was a mature approach of a war story written in a format that is comparable to Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, where you get two perspectives from an ongoing war, and you give both sides room to breathe. You give both sides reasons and motivations to take part in this war, and you go down to the very essence of what fantasy is, or what makes fantasy interesting, and that is the discovery of the unknown. When you have two parties or two factions clash with one another that have never met before. Because we look at any fantasy property, like the enemies know each other for 3,000 years and they're still fucking fighting. Like, why? Like, can't you fucking find a solution to kill the other side already? You know, like, I don't know. Like there's enough real world examples where that actually worked out. Like, just get it over with. Don't let it go for that long. But we have very few examples of civilizations meeting each other in fantasy fiction where they just don't know each other, or where they're just about to meet each other. When both sides are driven by fear of the unknown rather than by full knowledge of what the enemy is about. And I do think that is where Orcin sets in, and where Orcin really has a potential to grow as a storytelling platform for me, that I can explore those two different perspectives, these two different vantage points, and at the same time discover the world myself, because I don't know everything yet. And as I write, as I progress, like all of this is kind of falling into place for me as well. And I really appreciate that type of approach to creating this world.
That's awesome, man. I was so impressed by the fact alone that you decided to write like an actual novel. We're not talking about, a simple comic book where, you know, with the dialogues you can, because, you're not a native of the US. So you have a great English, way better than mine. But like, I'm thinking like, I'm writing my own book right now, a comic book. And even if my English is kind of decent, I'm writing it in Italian and having somebody like a literary translator translate it for me.
Yeah.
Like the language in this book, it's like, you cannot be like, hey dude, what's up? And then the guy went to the bar and shot a fucking asshole. It's an actually like, it's a fantasy book and it needs a specific language and a specific, kind of, how do you do that, man? I mean, I know you have an editor. I saw in the list of people involved.
Liam is my editor. He's been my editor for the last 5 years. He's a native Scotsman, so I just make sure that like I don't slip some Germanisms in there by accident. Like for example, like one of the funny stories. Like I always misinterpreted the word scoffing wrong. Like I thought it's like being perplexed at something, and I just used it wrong, and I kept on using it wrong. And every time I give Liam my manuscript, he's like editing it out. Why is he editing? Like, what is wrong with scuffing? Like, I want the character to scuff. And then, like, I call him up and he's like, Liam, what's up with your hate for scuffing? And he's like, you're using it wrong. I'm like, what do you mean I'm using it wrong? What does it mean? And I was like, they explained it. And I was like, oh, man, this is so fucking embarrassing. Like, I could have just, like, checked the dictionary, but, like, I didn't. So it was, like, just, like, somehow, you save it wrong, and then like you keep on using it wrong without even noticing it. And that is what an editor is really essential for. But how does writing work for me? I've started finding a passion in it a couple of years back when I realized, after writing the first bunch of books for the previous IP that I was working on, the Genesis, that people connected with the material on a different level that they would connect with my art. When I do art, it's very sensationalist, like you put it out and then people are excited for 5 minutes, and then, the next day, nobody even cares about it anymore. And then with I'm serious, it is like people are just like, they look at it, it's a flash of inspiration. They're like really excited about it, but like, then it just like, it goes poof immediately afterwards. And then with books, I had a different experience, because people would pick it up 2 years after the fact, because eventually they would have time to read it, and they would be like, wow, this is really great, and I really want to talk about this main character right now with Marko. And then I realized I have a different connection with the audience, because the audience is experiencing the act of reading differently than the act of looking. And that's where I realized, okay, cool, there is obviously something that I could explore and get better at. And the more I did of it, the easier it came. And now I'm kind of hooked. I'd rather just write instead of draw, because drawing is really boring for me.
Sorry, but when you talk about this guy that you were in an interaction with, are you talking about the Discord channel?
Yeah, I mean, the Discord channel is full with people that like my stuff already, so it's very easy to talk with the fans over there.
Yeah. I'll ask you because we're in the process of creating our Discord channel ourselves. Actually, the first time I just subscribed to your Discord, so it's the only channel that I'm on, because I was really curious to see how it works there.
Yeah.
And I saw that you actually like interact you personally with people.
Absolutely.
I saw people sending you sometimes pages and you do a critique of their work.
Mhm.
So there's actual human interaction. So I was really interested.
Oh, I do appreciate it, because I mean, look, I sit in my office 16 hours a day and there's nobody to talk to. And sometimes it's just nice to have a chat ongoing on the side where you can pop in and out and just communicate with people without having to do the effort of like, oh, now I need to go and make a post on Instagram, and I need to find a caption, and I need to find a good hook for people to, like, even be interested in what I just posted. I just don't like that type of communication. It feels forced. And it feels like I'm spending so much effort on pre-entertaining an idea rather than responding to a normal conversation. And that's why I gravitated towards Discord as a main means of communication with my fans rather than using social media. I haven't been on Instagram for 5 years already, so I cut off all the other social media stuff in favor of real, genuine human interaction, which I prefer far over like a staged kind of thing,
That's a powerful testament for Discord. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I love how you keep, again, avoiding the easy route. Like you keep trying to find your thing. And as you said, I had Instagram, but I haven't been using it because I see that this is more my way, which I think it's a really healthy way of thinking. I think that a lot of us get caught in this thing of, oh, you should do that. If you do this, then you should do this and this and that. And there's different paths that still leads to, I don't know if happiness is too big of a word for the Lord.
I mean, I'm really not. No, it's not what I'm searching for. I'm searching for the right type of challenge, because I know, dude, like my time is limited. I'm gonna die like all of us in a couple of years, and I just really want to do the best type of work that I can do, and the only way to do that is to be authentic with yourself. I really think the more you allow yourself to be influenced by things on a daily basis, the more you water down your personality and your real needs towards what is proposed as the right life path. And I'm strictly against it. I want to be honest with myself when I work, and I really just try to like take that path very serious and do things my rather complicated way and sometimes very challenging way, but it feels like at least I can look into the mirror in the morning and know, hey, this is all my fault and nobody else's fault.
Yeah,
I really like what you're saying, because I feel like the comic book industry, when you're working for like the mainstream publishers, to work that way it's like for me it was always a fight of sacrificing what I wanted to do, how I wanted to look, how I wanted to unfold, like sacrificing all that for the deadline. Mm-hmm. And I got tired of that. And it really sucked the life out of me. And that's why I've spent all this time building things like this podcast and my instructional videos, so that I can then have my freedom to do comics the way I've always wanted to do them. Because I always felt like I was trying to force what I wanted to do into a system that really didn't want that.
I hear you, man. Like it's a tough life to work on a deadline for a project that you don't own. I'd rather work on a harsh deadline for a project that I own. I completely hear you, because if you are already sacrificing your liberty in creating the art that you want to do, you don't want to also sacrifice the time that you can spend on it to make it good.
Right. Yeah. But Mattteo, you found a way where it works for you, because I don't feel like when I look at what you're doing, you're sacrificing anything. You're doing exactly what you want to do, it seems.
Well, it's small sacrifices, I would say. Like, it's sacrifices that I see that, at least for now, my person can take. I'd say so. Okay. It's sacrifices, but and compromises under control. you know.
But what
And,
exactly is that? What you're doing? Like, can you just like? I'm not up to snuff. Like, what are you working on right now?
Well, right now I'm working on my book that's gonna be done by the end of the year. It's been a slow process because in the meantime I've been working on a million other things.
Yeah.
And then now I'm gonna start another book, another series with Mark Millar for Netflix. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, they pay, to be honest with you, they pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the job is so easy that, I've accepted it, especially because I've been working on my book, and
Yeah.
that's money away from my bank account, basically, because
Absolutely.
the plan is not to find a publisher and then start working on it. I want to finish
Yeah.
the whole thing by myself exactly the way I want it, and then try to shop it around.
So it's basically you're doing a hybrid thing, like part creator owned, part a gig that brings in a good amount of money, and that's it's a completely viable life path that really sounds good. Like nobody there's no rule set that you need to follow as an artist. Like nobody forces me to do it exactly like I'm doing it. It's because of my own choices, because I feel like, if I don't overcommit to this one thing, I cannot really do the work that I'm doing. That's what it comes down to. But I've lived the hybrid option for many, many years. I just never found any type of happiness or satisfaction in that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, what I try to train myself on is being fluid, basically. So be prepared that there's gonna be time in which I have to work on 3 things at the same time. It's gonna be stressful, but then I'm gonna be moving on my own thing, and then putting more energy into podcast and self-promoting, like I'm gonna be doing when it's time to promote my own book, because I'm thinking to go with a crowdfunding campaign as well at the beginning for my book. So, that's a new word that I'm gonna get to know. I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes when it's time, but it's all part of this big process. And even when I work mainstream, like even for the Netflix book, I never ask myself, like the thing that I ask myself every time I start a new project, aside from whoever is the publisher, is like, okay, what do I want to explore with this book? So the script, it might be the best script I've ever seen, or it might not. I cannot count on that. So let's make this thing interesting by learning a new thing and trying a new style. So I make it my research, I make the paid work, my research at the same time. So that makes it up for, the frustration of not doing your thing, basically.
Can you come onto our Discord and post a few of your creator-owned things? Like, I'd love to see them, because I'm never seeing new stuff unless it's posted on our Discord, because I'm like disconnected everywhere. I don't follow anybody. I don't see anybody's stuff. I had to ask my wife to show me the latest stuff from you guys on her phone, because I just have nothing on my phone. Like I don't even have a fucking food app on my phone. I can't even order food for myself. So it's.
You're living the dream, Marko. That's the dream.
This disconnected hermit. That's like it's like the last part of my life is like me being alone on a mountain and not having to talk with anybody.
But absolutely. As soon as I realized how it works, because right now the main step was I created an account on Discord and I subscribed to the channel, and I'm starting to go around and see how it works.
Just drag and drop
also
stuff
for research.
Yeah, drag and drop stuff. Say hello.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna come on. I have an account. I've never really used it, but I'm gonna go on and get involved on Marko's board too.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'll give you guys a shout out.
That'd be awesome.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Shawn. Go ahead.
I think you were going to say the same thing. I want to, before we wrap it up here, because we've got about 12 minutes left. I want to give you a chance to talk about the Kickstarter stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's important.
So with a project like Orcin, which is encompassing almost a dozen books at this point, we need to somehow refinance all the effort that I've been putting in, and I've been already working on this for the better part of last year, going into this year, we're trying to set up a campaign that will at least, get the books funded and into people's hands, and also provide hopefully enough funding for the second wave of books that I'm planning to do after the first one is done. So the first one is where we're launching with 6 books completed, and hopefully going to get funding for the second wave, which is probably going to be another 6 books. This is the idea.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, go.
I was just going to say, so the 6 books, these are novels with illustrations.
Yeah. So it's 4 books with illustrations. 2 of them are basically illustrated novels. 2 of them are complete setting books. And then there's 2 trade paperbacks, which are just novels by themselves. And the novels by themselves are basically the illustrated novels without pictures. And the reason for that was, while we were starting to work on the project, we handed the manuscript without pictures to a bunch of preview readers. I think it was like 60, 70 people that we had in our direct network that we approached. And we were like, hey, we want you to read this thing and give us some feedback. And literally everybody who read the books didn't even ask for illustrations. And I was like, oh man, like, why the fuck am I doing all these illustrations? Like, people like the book already. Like, I'm so stupid. But I create double the work for myself. But like, on the other hand, I know that there is a lot of people that appreciate art, and since I have the whole world already built out in my head, I'll do the illustrated versions on the side. And they're basically the deluxe variant of the actual novels. So you have to, as the backer, you have to decide what you want. If you want the novels just by themselves, so you can read them on the train or on the shitter or wherever you read things, or if you want the illustrated deluxe thing to put it on your coffee table and show it around to your grandma when she's over.
So I might have lost it when you were explaining everything. Do you already have an official launch date for the campaign?
We're hoping to get everything done by the end of March, but a few factors are still out in the open. And as long as we can, I don't know when this episode is supposed to air. Maybe they're going to be already cleared up by that point in time.
This episode will be out
early
in
February,
3 weeks.
maybe?
Yeah, about 3 weeks. Yeah.
3 weeks from now.
So we might have a launch date at that point already. But like we're aiming right now for the end of March. Worst case scenario, it's going to be end of April.
And but right now you have the pre-launch page up. So
the page is already active. So
sign
please,
up.
everyone, all of our 5 listeners, please subscribe to the campaign.
We will we'll put the link in the description.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
For sure.
No, it's like really, I mean, like, it's the first time we're launching something via Kickstarter. I'm not really, it's not usually the way I do things. And we're kind of in this weird spot where everybody is trying to convince me to not finish everything ahead of time, and we should just launch, and like, let's go, and you could finish it later. And I'm like, oh god, like, I don't want to. What happens if we get a fully funded campaign and then I die the next day? And like, the books are not finished, like, we're like, how is this logical? Well, and then like, I'm starting to worry as if, like, World War III is going to break out tomorrow. And I get like all overly obsessed over details. And like, I really, that's how I function. I'm just going to be happier when the books are done to do the campaign.
Everything I've heard with Kickstarter is have it done before you launch.
Or at least almost done.
Or just like this close to being done.
That's the strategy. That's the trajectory at the moment.
And also another question that I was curious about. So this is going to be like the full scope is going to include like other media, I suppose, right? Because you as a company, you work in video games. So I suppose there's something in the work there, or at least in your thoughts.
I mean, I can't talk about it right now because it's kind of like a surprise. But one of the things that I would love to do is, if the campaign gets funded and well funded, to bleed into a graphic novel series. Because I already have the plot for the graphic novel series laid out, and by that point in time, like, the first 12 books are out. Everybody can understands the characters already. Everybody understands the world, the story, and then I can start, without having to explore the world in the comic book, just tell the story. about the characters. You know, like I don't need to like have any additional fluff or filler because everything is already set up and the characters exist. I can basically bleed right into the actual story of the graphic novel and then continue from there.
Which you're gonna draw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because you know,
Of course.
you
don't have
have to
enough
add
work.
another job to it, right?
I don't know. Like I'd love to. As I said, I'd love to do comic books if they're written by me. Like I don't want to do other people's work. It's just not what I'm here on this planet for. And I've been commercially active as an artist for 29 years, and like that's longer than most people are alive that are listening to this podcast probably. So it's it's just I just need this for my soul. Otherwise, I'm gonna die like a sad flower, like a sad office flower.
Now, speaking of sad, I have something that is gonna make you really sad, Marko. Now that I got to know you a little bit and your personality, I'm gonna do something that you're gonna kind of hate. All right?
Okay.
But bear with me. It's the last 5 minutes. So
stand-up comedy.
No, it's something funny. It's a little game. It's good. You don't have to participate though. It's for my body here. It's an ambush to my body here to see if he's done his homework. All right.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna share my screen. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
I had this thing. Fuck. Let's see. Screen.
Why are you doing this
Window.
to me?
Okay.
Why are you doing this to me?
Share.
Oh my god! What is?
You see it?
Yeah. Know your car.
Oh no!
Know your car. All right.
Yeah.
So-
Oh god.
So basically, the car, for people that don't know Orcin, like the car is basically the race, the main race of orcs. All right, and there's various type of orcs of cars of car with
no.
and each class, they have their own. They have their own looks, their own thing. They have,
Okay.
So
All right,
I want to see.
First, wait. First, I just want to apologize to Marko if I fuck anything up. It's not because I didn't like what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I loved everything you sent me. Matteo's just gonna make me look like an asshole right now. So I apologize.
Bro, it's no problem. It's all good. It's all good.
All right.
All
Let's
right.
do it,
So
brother.
let's start with the first one. All right.
Okay.
So Shawn, what's this one?
Yes. That is. I know it's not Jakar. I know it's not
Okay.
that one. That's the Urukar.
No, you're a fucking
Is it-
retard.
Is it the Karakar?
Am I right, Marko? Is that
Yeah.
a Goro car?
Yeah, it is a Goro car.
Oh god
Yeah.
damn it.
All right. Okay. Second one, Shawn.
Okay. That's
This one is easy. I mean, you didn't do your homework. If you
I
can't
did do my
this one.
homework. You're making me nervous now. that's a Jakar. That's
Marco's
a Jakar.
not talking. Marco's disconnected. Like he left the conversation.
That's a Jakar.
He's hating
That's
us
a-
right now.
No, that's a Jakar. No.
Oh, you fucking idiot. It's a car. And you know, Marko, the funny thing is that before this, not to ambush him completely, I told him to study a little bit so
I've been
that it wouldn't
studying,
look
man.
dumb. So you're fucking retarded, man.
I
But he's
didn't.
the only American in the chat, so like it's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, he's probably never been to Europe.
That's not true.
Oh wow! So you have a passport.
Yes.
Nice.
he went to Europe for the first time 2 years ago, I think, right?
4 years ago. 4 years ago. Yeah.
All right.
How'd you like it?
All right.
Where'd you go?
I went to Italy. I've been to Croatia and Italy. I've been to Italy 4 times and Croatia once.
Nice, but you haven't visited me, so it cannot be nice enough.
When Germany's on my list, I definitely want to go to Germany. It's high on my list right now.
Yeah, you should come by. The office is a good place.
I would love to see it. Well, where in Germany are you?
We're in Berlin.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the capital.
Awesome.
Plus, Shawn, it's not the
Spain's ugly.
40s anymore, so you're safe there now. Oh, because Marko, you must not know. Shawn is a Jew.
That's perfectly fine. Like all my best friends are Jews. I'm not a German.
Oh yeah, right. You're Serbian, right? Of
Yeah,
origin.
I just happen to be stranded here.
That's awesome, man. So okay, so this one was a Karakar.
Okay.
All right, Shawn.
Okay.
At least get at least 2 of them. All right.
Okay.
Fucking idiot. This one's so fucking easy. You have to get. You have to.
That's an Urakar.
Urukar. Awesome. Yeah, one for Shawn.
Nice one.
This one, another easy one.
That's a Jakar.
Yes.
That's the Jakar. Yeah, the Jakar are basically, Marco, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna be really racist right now, but basically they're the gypsies of the cars.
Kind of. Yeah, you could say
Kind
so.
of.
Like it's a stretch, but yeah.
They're the
Yeah.
half-bloods, right?
A little
They're
on the homeless
half-bloods?
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, homeless.
They're
And
nomadic.
these ones are the gym bros, like the alpha males, the Joe Rogans.
Yeah. They're the explosive Olympic weightlifters.
All right, and this is the last one, and then we'll stop torturing Marco with this stupid thing. What's this one, Shawn?
Urakar.
No, you're a fucking idiot. This is a man of metal. These are the the other side. The
Right.
Fuck, man.
The strangers.
all right.
Okay.
Sorry for the torture, Marco.
Oh, don't worry. It was good. I like the pronunciation though. Like that was really well done.
Thank you. Now, Matteo,
At least
Did
that.
did you just do that because you know I'm an idiot? Is that why you did that?
No, I thought I would do something funny.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then as I was doing, I was like, "Fuck, you're right. Shawn is an idiot. I gotta tell him first, otherwise it would be a disaster." And it still was a disaster, even if I told you.
Hold on. Being an idiot is one thing, but like being an idiot and not a good artist is another thing. But like you guys are good artists, at least. You can be idiots.
At least that, right?
Like
we're retards. That's
it's like the difference between being a dumbass professional and a professional dumbass.
Yeah, exactly.
Dumbass professional rather than a professional dumbass. It's a very fine line,
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So on a scale to 1 to 10, how much did you add this last part?
On a scale, to absolute 10, dude. Like, it was disgusting. It was like bad comedy. I didn't expect much from this podcast, and it like just got worse.
It got even worse, right? That's usually the experience for everyone.
I think we have that's our social media.
I thought it was going to be a dumb idea, but it was a terrible idea.
That's the social media reel right there. I didn't expect much from this podcast, and it was worse. All right, well, Marko, thank you so much for coming on. This was
guys, you are hilarious. Bring me on whenever you want to come by the Discord.
Absolutely, man.
Dude, we'd love to have you back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact,
it was a great pleasure to finally meet you in person, man.
Really great.
The only time I saw you in person, can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, sure.
It was I don't know if you remember. There was a show in Italy, Mantova Comics.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's back when you had your hair like up here.
That was when my wife was pregnant with my boy.
Oh shit!
That's like 16 years ago. Yeah. I was
literally
long
time ago.
Yeah. I remember that show very well.
Yeah, so it was back then after Lucca. It was the second best show in Italy. It had a pretty decent attendance. It was a nice show. Plus, it was close to my home, so I would always go whenever the show was on. And I remember seeing for the first time, I saw you were doing a commission or something. Yeah. And right next to you, it was Esad Ribic.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I don't know if you guys were, since you were guest of the show, you're probably staying upstairs, like your room was upstairs or really close to the show or something. Do you remember that?
I don't remember. No, we had to go there by cab in the morning. I remember that because like I met Esad on that convention, and then we became friends for life on that convention.
Esad is the best, man.
Yeah,
and I remember that was my first time seeing both you and Esad. And Esad would, I don't know if you remember this, but he would come downstairs at the show in basically a pajama.
He had pajamas on, and exactly, and he had nothing on him, and he like he borrowed all his art supplies from my wife, who was like basically his art supplier on the show, and so he was like making cash off of her pencils, and he didn't give her a single cut. This motherfucker, like he took it all for himself, every penny that he made.
Oh my God. Esad is the best. Like sometimes we have an email thread with friends, and a couple of times when somebody gets too emotional to something, like some of a friend of ours has a meme of Esad with his face like this, with and the text says, "Don't be such pussy," and Esad is looking at you like this. So whenever somebody gets too emotional, that's what we send each other. Yeah. Too much of a human being with emotions.
He's the best. Story. He's really the best. I love that guy. You should bring him on. Actually, on the show.
We should get Esad on. This is who Esad is. I was in Croatia at this little convention in Makarska, and I know Esad goes every year. Yeah. So Esad had been telling me about this restaurant Kalalagra. I think Kalalarga. The chef is the owner. He goes fishing every morning. He buys all the ingredients from local people, and there's no menu. You sit down, they ask if you want meat or fish, and they just start bringing food. Mattteo, if you can imagine me in this position in life, having this.
Oh my God, the sounds! I'm imagining the sounds because you don't know this, Marko, about Shawn. Everything he does it with a noise. Even when he sleeps, it's like, and King John from the cartoon Robin Hood. He's like, It's like that. That's the sound that Shawn makes. And when he eats like this. It's incredible. Like his whole life is a soundtrack, basically.
I mean, he's enjoying the little things, I can't fault him.
Absolutely. That's why we love him.
So I asked the organizer of the convention, Dario, because he had organized dinners for us every night, and it was my anniversary, and my wife was with me, and I was like, I think it was our 20th anniversary. I was like, Dario, this is a really special anniversary. Do you mind if I just take my wife to Kalalaga tonight, just me and her, and not be with the group? I didn't want to offend him. He was like, not a problem. He made us a reservation, and we walk in, and of course Esad's there. I think he just lived there for the entire convention. But so my wife and I are sitting down having this amazing meal. They bring out like the dessert with like fireworks and sparklers going off. Yeah. And I asked for the check, and they're like, Esad took care of it. So that's a testament.
There you go. There you go. Like this is the true man. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't let you starve.
Yeah. So we should have him on. But
I'm scared because with Esad, you never know. It might be in my head. There's a fantasy that sees him because I thought about inviting him on the show, and I fear that just out of whatever comes to his head in that moment, it would be like, nope. No. So do you like it? No, I think it's shit. And that's it. It wouldn't give you anything, So the show would be over after 15 minutes.
He's not like that. No.
I know him in person. Like in person, it's really talkative. He makes a lot of jokes. I love it. I don't know if on the podcast he would love to fuck with us and just start doing that.
He'd be hilarious.
But that'd be funny. It'd be funny.
Yeah. He'd leave the show floor to you and like make it a stand-up comedy.
That'd be good. All right. Well, Marko, thank you so much. And seriously,
thanks a lot, man. It was a huge pleasure, man.
Yeah, whenever you want to come back on, we definitely would love to have you.
Guys, I really enjoyed this. Like you made me laugh, and I didn't laugh once this year already. Like so, like
well, all right.
Definitely a good human interaction. And I really enjoyed the questioning, and like you guys are a really fun bunch. I'm really happy for being on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Means a lot.
Mattteo, we have to get to Germany now and go visit the studio. That'd be fun.
Yeah, you totally should come by. Totally come by and like definitely ping me over at Discord. I'm gonna give you guys a shout out, and then we're gonna co-advertise the release of this thing here once it's out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Please, people, again, subscribe to the Kickstarter campaign. Is already active, so I mean, it's not the campaign, but the page is already active, so you can subscribe there. Yeah.
All right, now Marko, this is the worst part of the show for you.
Oh, this is another. If you thought that one was annoying, this one is even more annoying. Oh my god!
You're gonna ask me about my favorite character in Marvel comics.
No. You don't have to do anything.
It's worse.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything. You have to tolerate this.
It's going to be horrifying for you. Yeah. No, so in order to make it less painful for you, I'll make it short. All right?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Just for you. Because he always tries to make it as long as he can. But for you, we're going to go short.
Okay.
All right.